Wesley says, from your experience in local, what would you say is a recurring software tool that businesses are happy to pay for that's very handy and not super expensive, that can be used as a foot in the door to then push GMB and SEO? Reviews is one of them, like review generation. High Level has an kind of a, well, they have it kind of built into High Level now, but there's also snapshots and stuff that you can purchase that are specifically set up for database reactivation, and review solicitation. And that is one of the things that you can do relatively or very inexpensively. Like, for example, guys, and here's just my example, okay? I know some people, like, that's what one of our mastermind members who's working very closely with me, he's helping me finish my book and he's editing for me and all that. He wanted to come out at, like, that's what he wanted to just do, review generation, basically for his agency service. Like, that's all he wanted to do. He didn't want to get in all the complexities of SEO and everything else. But I don't know, like, as a front end, as the only service he wanted to sell, and I'm not calling him out by name, but because I don't want to do that, but he wanted to sell it for $300 a month. Okay, great. That's fine. And I'm not saying don't try that. All I'm saying, you were asking specifically, Wesley, about not an expensive, an easy foot in the door, something that's inexpensive, that, $300 a month for a lot of local businesses, that's still painful enough that they notice that every month. It depends on kind of local businesses you're dealing with. But if you're dealing with smaller local businesses, $300 a month to them, like, remember, with review collection and stuff like that, database reactivation, you can, like, shoot your wad, so to speak, all at one time. I know it's probably a very crude thing to say, but you could basically, like, produce the result all in 1 month. And then, like, from that point on, there's just a trickle because you overdid it all up front, if that makes sense. So it's hard to maintain that subscription level at that type of a price when, like, most of the work was done up front, and then the client doesn't see continuing benefit from that kind of a, that expense, so to speak. So I always suggested, why not use, like, significantly lower the cost? Like, I mean, if all you're doing is selling review services, then that makes sense as why you'd want to keep it at $300. But if that is just a front end foot in the door strategy, why not sell reviews for $100 a month, guys? Like, I don't understand why everybody, like, I just don't understand why people try to squeeze so much fucking money out of a service like that when you could sell it. Look, even in High Level, you pay $297 a month for an agency account, and you can spin off as many sub accounts off of that as you want. And you create a sub account for every client that you want to do review generation and database reactivation for. There are snapshots. You can go to whitelabelsnapshots.com, which is Walt Bayless's marketplace for snapshots, white label snapshots. And you can buy review generation, database reactivation, all kinds of snapshots over there that you can just duplicate. It doesn't cost you any extra money. You can push out as many sub accounts as you want for $297 a month. So why not sell reviews for $100, review and database reactivation and automated text back, text messages for missed calls and things like that. All the stuff that High Level does and does well for $100 a month. Like, why not? Like, it's a foot in the door strategy. It's a service that does provide measurable value, tangible value for $100 a month. It's hard for somebody to turn that down because that's almost like they don't even notice that. Right. And then once you develop a relationship, you can always upsell, cross-sell, etc., to additional services. So in my opinion, like I said, I always said, well, look, I've not tried starting or leading with reviews because I always just led right out of the gate with Google Business SEO services. That was always my front end offer. In hindsight, I think I probably should have had some other offers. That's what I'm working on now for our directory hybrid agency program. It's a one-off service called Brand Builder. It's $1,000, one-time fee, and 30 days they see results. So that is something that is, again, a foot in the door type of strategy. Reviews, that's another one, could be. But instead of charging $300 a month or $500 a month, charge $100. Look, birdeye.com is supposedly one of the best. I've not used it personally, but I do have some my own agency clients. One of them, a roofer, he's been with them for like 5 or 6 years now, and he loves Birdeye. And then the gentleman I was talking about earlier that's helping me finish my book, he's using Birdeye, and it's $50 a month per client. And they handle everything. You don't even have to learn how, like with High Level, you still got to learn the tech because you have to learn how to integrate and set it all up and all that kind of stuff. But with Birdeye, you don't have to do any of that. With Birdeye, you just you become a reseller for Bird Eye or whatever, an affiliate. I don't know how it works because I'm not with them, but it's $50 a month and they handle everything. All you got to do is set up a form for your client to submit their data, their contact list to, and boom, they handle everything. And it's $50 a month. So even if you're selling it for $100 a month, that's 100% markup. You don't have any fulfillment work to do because they do it. And now you've got a paying client that you're starting to develop a relationship with that you can upsell to SEO services, advertising, content marketing, whatever, right? So again, I think there are what they call them, loss leaders, tripwires, things like that, things that can produce a result and don't be greedy. Try to, in my opinion, the money's not made from that service. The money is made in the additional services, the upsells, the cross sells, and the lifetime value of the client, right? So figure out ways to get your foot in the door, get them paying where they're pulling out a credit card and giving you some money, even if it's a small amount. That way you start to develop a relationship with them, and then you can upsell them into larger services with more profitability, higher margins, et cetera. That's kind of the point. Also, with the directory hybrid agency model that I'm developing, that we hope to launch at POFU Live or very, very close to that time. There's also the hybrid model, which is where you build assets that you own and control for the clients at a reduced cost for them, because you actually own it. You're still using their budget to build your own assets that you own and control that are for their benefit, at least while they're paying you, but you own and control them. And then that way, if the client decides that they don't need you anymore, or they don't want to pay you anymore or whatever, you've used their budget to build your business throughout that entire time. That makes sense. You still own and maintain control of those assets. And that's precisely what I'm teaching for the directory hybrid model. So there's a number of things that you can do to kind of mitigate that. And ask me why. Ask me why I'm doing that. Because I'm in the tree service SEO, or the tree service industry. And it's a seasonal business. And every single year I go through spring and summer where I'm doing prospecting and I bring on, new clients. And then November, December comes, and 60% of the clients that I secured earlier that year suspend services because it's wintertime and everything slows down, and they say, oh, we'll be back in the spring. And then springtime comes, and guess what? Most of the time, not always, sometimes they come back, but a lot of the times they're still ranking well, so they don't come back, or they come back later on in the year. And then that's generally when I'll raise the price. Oh yeah, well, my fees have gone up. You shouldn't have canceled. But no, seriously, I'm kind of in part, I'm joking, but it's frustrating to lose 60% of your monthly recurring revenue every winter. So how do you mitigate that? Well, you start maintaining control, right? I can create assets for a client that they can rent or lease or pay per lead or whatever, but I own and control the assets. And so even if I'm going to do like a rental fee, like a retainer model, essentially, I can do it at a lower cost than what I would do if I'm just building their brand, right? Because I'm using their money to build my own assets, if that makes sense. It's for their benefit, but it's still building, it's for my benefit too. Whereas when you're doing traditional retainer work for a client, you're working on their business, right? They're paying you to do so, but you're building their business. You have nothing left when they decide they don't need you anymore. Right? You're that source of revenue is gone, and you've got nothing to show for it other than the money you collected while you were active on that project. Right? So the point that I'm trying to make, guys, is like we in the SEO and the marketing industries, I feel like we spend all of our time building other people's businesses. Why are we not building our own? And I'm hoping to change that, at least for the people that follow us. Right? I want you guys focused on building your business first. Right? Your priority should be your business, your brand, your income, your family. You still have to serve your clients. I get that. But why are we always prioritizing our clients instead of our own businesses? Does that make sense? And so, again, that's what I'm hoping to present, some opportunities or some solutions to that problem. And it would just be my version of it. I'm sure there's others out there too. That makes sense. I just got tired of losing 60% of my own monthly recurring revenue every single winter in the tree service industry. So I found ways to kind of overcome that.